the playoff predictions for week 2 of the playoffs. My record was terrible last week. I got most of them wrong, so I'm sure that I'm going to get most of these wrong, but I know that we'll all have opinions. So we got 4 games to look forward to. So let's go through each of them. The first is going to be the Rams at Green Bay. Green Bay is favored by half. Trey, we'll start with you.
So a couple of quick notes about home field advantage and visitors. So last week, the visiting team was 4-2. For the NFL season, the home teams are 127 and 128. And I think obviously there's a couple ties there. So this was the first year, I think, either in forever or in a significant amount of time, that the home team actually did not have a winning record, obviously because of the fans and COVID. I think it was Aaron Rodgers that was talking about playing in the Superdome in New Orleans. Like, usually when you come here, it's hand signals. You can't hear anything. I mean, you're deaf, and now you're in there and you can hear everything. It's like a practice. So just a quick note on that. So for the first game, I think Green Bay is on a roll. The Rams, I think they are a little bit interesting because of their defense. I don't know if you guys saw their defense last week. I mean, freaking, and it'll depend on Aaron Donald's health also. Aaron Donald's a monster. Their defense is absolutely ridiculous. Having said that, I've been kind of riding Green Bay all year. It's kind of like, they've been winning, but nobody really wants to believe that they're that good. I don't know, because maybe they've kind of been in the middle of the pack for a long time. And Chris, you and I were talking about how cool it would be to see Aaron Rodgers get another Super Bowl. So here, the Rams defense is awesome, but take a dome team out of a dome, put them in Green Bay, assuming there's some weather there, it's going to be cold, and Aaron Rodgers has a chip on his shoulder, so I'll take Green Bay and lay the 6.5.
Yeah, I'm where you are, Trey. I'm doing the same. I'm taking Green Bay 6.5, and
Green beans.
I think it's green beans too. I'll have some green beans after this. Yeah, Aaron Rodgers though. I think Aaron Rodgers is on a roll. He knows the window is closing for him. He doesn't have a lot of opportunities left. He's still a great player, but I mean, he's only a few years away, honestly, from being, where he's got to be thinking about retiring. Yep. He's still really, really good. There's probably not a more arrogant quarterback playing in the playoffs at this point than Aaron Rodgers. And he also is one of those quarterbacks. I think I don't think Drew Brees is healthy enough to will his team to victory. I think that Patrick Mahomes absolutely can, and I think the only other person is Rodgers. I think they can literally will their teams to victory, and so even if they're down late, I think Green Bay is going to find a way to come back and win. But like you said too, even though there's not a huge home field advantage, Lambeau is one of those stadiums that I think does give somebody a bit of a home field advantage, more so than others. So I'm definitely going with Green Bay. Tony?
Yeah, Green Bay. I'm going to go from kind of a Rodgers fan perspective. I mean, he's usually always my fantasy quarterback if I can get him. So, Rodgers, and let's see, his receiving core is pretty good. He's still got Adams, and who else he got? Lazard, and there's another one in there I can't think. Damn, I can't even think of it. Running game strong. So both running backs, that they have in the backfield will be good. I don't really care about LA, so whatever. I'm just gonna go just as a fan of its aspect, not a points or anything like that. I'm just gonna go with Rodgers.
Well, and
the win.
If Goff couldn't even grip the ball last week. Like, it's amazing that they won that game. Who won fantasy this year, Tony? Side note.
Dude, I think it was the new guy. I don't even know his name. We have two people that I think work with Aaron or Enoch or somebody that I have no idea who they are. One of them won. I think that person and Dan were in the championship, and I think the other guy won. Dan might have won.
How many championships do you have?
2 wins as championships, but I've placed all 3 places. And then we didn't even do the picks this year. We did what was he doing? I didn't even really pay attention. Ben did a thing where I think the team that scored the highest points for the week got, instead of picks, they got like $40 or some shit
right.
like that. The highest point. So
Tony's a very solid fantasy football player. I had my run where I got second place 3 years in a row or something like that. So always a bridesmaid, never a bride for me. So I retired. I retired not on top, but I retired in second place. So it's fine.
All right, so let's move to the next game, guys. We got Baltimore at Buffalo. Buffalo is favored by 2.5. So I'll go first on this one. I just don't have a ton of confidence in Baltimore and Lamar Jackson. They seem to be a little bit inconsistent. And man, I just think Buffalo is a scrappy team. They're on a roll too, and they find ways to win at Buffalo. To me, I definitely take the points, and I see Buffalo winning this one. Tony, what
I'll
about
take
you?
Buffalo. Yeah, I'll take Buffalo. Just don't really care about Baltimore. Not a big fan of the team. Never have been. I think we talked about this last video. Why my hatred for Baltimore has been there for so long, since the Ray Lewis days. So and you know, I think Buffalo's doing good, man. They got a good little run for them. So if I had to call it now, I'd call Green Bay and Buffalo in the Super Bowl. But we'll see. We'll see what happens.
All right.
So Buffalo impressed me against the. I mean, Buffalo had been playing lights out. I thought the Colts actually gave him a good game. Kudos to Phillip Rivers. I mean, he's like Old Yeller, man. Like at some point, you just got to take him behind the shed and end it, you know. But he keeps on playing. He's got like 9 kids. Like, you know, I mean, good for him, man. Like, I respect that. He likes to get down. Anyways. The Ravens, I think there was a lot of people that wrote them off, myself included. I felt like they had a lot of flaws. The Titans were at home. They held the Titans to 13 points. I actually took the Titans, I believe, last week. I was on Tannehill. I was on Derrick Henry. The Titans were getting points, and the Ravens not only beat them outright, but also covered. It may have been 4.5 or something like that. So kudos to them. So I'll actually take in this game, I'll actually take the Ravens. They just impressed me the way they came out. Lamar Jackson, when he's playing well, he's unstoppable, right? You take that X factor of him being able to run. I think he had a 60-yard run or 50-yard run at the end of the half last week. The offensive play calling has been really good. Josh Allen, and I was having this conversation during the game. I think he's the best. He's the third best quarterback right now. Like Rodgers is playing better than him. Mahomes is better than him. I couldn't think of a quarterback that I'd rather have right now. You know, he's 6'4", he can run, he's on point, he's been playing really, really well. So it's nothing against Buffalo or him. I just think Baltimore's on a mission, and you throw in Lamar Jackson as an X factor, and it's a huge challenge to beat that. So I'll take Baltimore and the 2.5 points.
All right, let's move on to Cleveland at Kansas City's favored by 10. So I'm going to start with a bit of a shocker here. I think Cleveland's going to upset Kansas City. I like how Cleveland's playing. I thought that I absolutely enjoyed watching the Pittsburgh game. Obviously, I think some of the errors in Pittsburgh were self-inflicted. I hate them the way you hate Baltimore, Tony. So I really enjoyed it. But kind of going back to what I said about Buffalo, I think Cleveland's a scrappy team. They're a little bit of the bad news bears. They sometimes find a way to lose some games that they should win, but they've got a lot of talent. And right now, in my mind, you know, the pressure's on KC. They have the talent. They're going to be at home. They're supposed to win. Cleveland's going to come at this from an underdog perspective, and just sort of, I almost feel like they're going to come in with an innovative game plan and just let it fly. And I think there's a chance. Now, I think there's a chance Kansas City could absolutely end up destroying them. But I'm going to pick Cleveland. I think Cleveland could upset them and just shock the world. Trey?
So I'm going to go the other way. I like Cleveland. I thought it was really cool and I like Pittsburgh too, but I thought it was really cool to see them go into Pittsburgh and win the way they did. Because they're kind of, you know, little brother type deal. But, you know, Baker's been playing really well. Chubb. They have a really good team this year, and they kind of put it together. So, regardless, if you look good during the regular season and then you go and lose your first playoff game against your division opponent, it's like, oh, well, it's the same thing, right? So I thought that was cool. I think the Cleveland Browns fans are awesome. They're so passionate. In the beginning of that game, I'm just like, we were texting. I'm just like, what the F is going on? I mean, it was like, what, 21-0 or something like that?
28 to nothing.
28 to nothing. So I had a decent amount of money on the Browns and the points. So I was just cautiously optimistic that they were going to hold on, because it doesn't always work out like that, right?
Yep.
It can slowly start to go the other way, and it kind of did. And I think Pittsburgh maybe got into 14. They held. They hit a couple big plays. So kudos to them. Kansas City. So what you forget whenever and it's different because there's only one team this year that had a bye, but you forget that the teams that have a bye, why they have the bye. Right? They have the bye because they're the best teams in the conference and the best teams in the league. But it's easy to get caught up in, oh, I just saw this team last week, the wild card team, they did so well. And so it's what have I seen most recently? And then when they go to play the teams, and again, historically, it's two teams that had the bye. When they go and play those bye teams, they get destroyed. So I'm not saying it happens all the time. So for me, I think this is the case. I'm going to take Kansas City and lay the 10, which is insane in the playoffs. And I think they'll obviously be fans there in Kansas City. But Cleveland is coming off such a high, right? And when we talk about this a lot, when we're talking about picking spots, whenever we're trying to pick games and gambling, Cleveland gave everything to beat the Steelers. That was their Super Bowl, right? Now they have to turn around and they have to play another Super Bowl against Kansas City. You just don't have it. And Kansas City, obviously, as much talent as they have, I think it's going to be a rout, which I hate. I like Kansas City, but I like Cleveland also. I love the story. I'd love if they beat. Okay, so think about this. What if they beat Kansas City in Kansas City? Like, what are you saying about Cleveland? Are they the Super Bowl favorites then? Like, that would be ridiculous. Tony says
they won't be the Super Bowl favorites, but they'll become everyone's new favorite team. I think their coach too. What is his name? Kevin Stefanski, I think is his name. He's got a pretty good reputation right now. He seems like he's pretty smart, and so I'm wondering what kind of game plan he's going to come in. Like, this is the biggest game of his life, right? And so. You're right. I mean, it's probably an emotional pick, Trey. Like, I'm not going to lie, right?
It's the biggest game of everybody's lives on Cleveland, right?
Yeah, it is. It's huge. So I'm just really rooting for them. It's the game I'm most excited about this weekend because I want to see how they go. And I just can't not support Cleveland on this one.
I wouldn't. Like I said, I'm going to take Kansas City, but if Cleveland wins, I think that would be a really, really cool story. But I like both of the teams, so I'm going to get an NFL hat that just says NFL on it because I'm just a fan. What do you think, Tony?
I'm going to go with the Browns, but it's more of an emotional pick, because I do feel like, they beat Pittsburgh, and I picked the Browns to beat Pittsburgh, I think, but still, the Pittsburgh lost to themselves in the reality of it. It was turnover, touchdown, turnover, touchdown, turnover, touchdown. Turnover touchdown, I believe. So within the first half, I think I want to say Manziel, and I don't know why. I know that's not his name. Baker Mayfield. Mm-hmm. He only had one touchdown by halftime, but the score was still 28-0 or something around that point. But I also feel like y'all were saying, they're coming off a high, right? That was a big thing. There's always competition between Steelers and the Browns, and it's kind of one of those rivalry games, and they won. Not only that, they kind of won at a pretty good pace, but now they got to beat the Super Bowl champs. But at the same time, I kind of feel like this is their chance. I feel like if they don't do it now, it's not even back to the maybe we can do it again next year, because Mahomes and Mayfield are around the same age, so the Chiefs are going to be the Chiefs for the next 6 years. So if the Browns don't do it now, it's kind of like it was like the Cowboys, a few years back with Romo. Like if you don't win now, that's kind of it. The year where Dez caught the ball, even though they said they didn't. I feel like the same way with the Browns. Like if they don't do it now, then they're just done because they're not. I don't think they'll make it to the playoffs again next year, and I don't think they'll make it after that. Even with the young team that they got, I think if they're going to do it, they have to do it now. But then they'll get beat by the Bills, so it doesn't really matter.
So two things. So one, back to the Dez caught it. It was 4th and 2. And while I have a lot of respect for Romo throwing that ball, you didn't need all that. You just needed a first down, man. Anyways, Cleveland, to me, Cleveland's recipe is just like it was recipe to victory is just like it was last week, right? If Baker has to throw the ball 40 or 45 times, you're not going to win. If they're able to run the ball and he can throw the ball 20 to 25 times, get a touchdown or two, and have a 70% completion rate, but their main focus is running the ball. I think that's success for them. I think that's how they win the game. The issue is when you play Kansas City, you might do that for a drive or two, and maybe you keep Kansas City in check, and then Mahomes scrambles and throws the ball, throws a 45-yard dart and, a 65-yard touchdown, and they do that 2 drives in a row, and you're just like, okay, well, I guess we're going to keep handing the ball off to Chubb, right? So I think that's going to be the challenge, and ultimately when you're playing Kansas City, that's what it comes down to. It's not 1 quarters of keeping them checked, 2 quarters, 3 quarters. It's 4 quarters, and we saw that last year in the playoffs, especially against San Francisco in the Super Bowl. They don't have to get off to a hot start because they can they can just the fire gets lit and then they're off and they're done. Sorry, Chris, go ahead. I'll let you close it out.
No, I would say the same thing. Nobody scores faster than KC and Mahomes. I mean, you just they could be down 3 touchdowns and the lead's not safe. It's a different caliber than dealing with Pittsburgh and Roethlisberger. I mean, if Kansas City is down 28-0 in the first quarter, they could easily be leading in halftime.
So demoralizing.
It just is. It is. I mean, Mahomes is what Manning used to be. Peyton Manning back in the day.
I was
He's
exactly
a video game quarterback.
Yep. He's ridiculous. Just like, we've seen Brady do it. We've seen Manning do it. We've seen Breeze do it. Like, they're those quarterbacks. He's the newer version of what they were in their prime when you're like, don't celebrate at the end of the first quarter if you're up by 21 points because they're going to come back. Brady always comes back. I mean, he may not win, but he's going to make it interesting. Like, he's going to at least close the gap to a 7-point difference. So Mahomes is that guy. That is that team now. So don't celebrate any kind of lead. Just if you want to, you may not even need the lead the whole time, but just stay in it all 4 quarters, play your game. And if you do by chance wind up, 2 touchdowns, 1 touchdown, 3 points ahead at halftime, just, keep going. Don't stop. Don't let up because he'll come back. He's going to do it. He's going to get 3 touchdowns, definitely. So we'll see how it goes, I guess.
Mahomes.
All right. Going to our last game, Tampa Bay at New Orleans. New Orleans is favored by 3. Trey, what do you got?
So I'm a big Tom Brady fan, if you guys didn't know. I really like him. I'm not as much of a New Orleans fan, but I do respect them. Sean Payton, Bill Parcells guy. He was the coach here, offensive coordinator before.
He should have been our head coach.
Yeah, I don't know. At the time, I was like, okay, you can go. Nobody knew really what he could do, and he was probably the person responsible for finding Romo and bringing him here. So I'm going to take Tampa Bay here and the points. I think it'll be a really close game. I think Tampa Bay is actually going to struggle to keep up with them, but I think they have just enough to be able to do it. I think Arians is a good coach. New Orleans is interesting. Obviously, they're at home, and what they did to Washington last week. Did you guys watch the Nickelodeon broadcast at all? Did y'all see that?
No, I didn't even find out about it until later. I was like, what the fuck?
I heard it was actually supposed to be pretty good though.
So different, right?
Nate Burleson, right, was one of the commentators.
He was awesome, and they had a couple people from Nickelodeon, but the commentators were really, really good. They had like the slime zone instead of the end zone, where they throw up like graphics that looked like they were on the field when somebody would score. When somebody was kicking a field goal, they had a big picture of SpongeBob in between the goalposts. So I
had the
actually
Good Burger guys on there.
Oh my, I wish, yeah. Keaton Thompson. I thought it was actually really cool, and for people, you know, for younger kids, and for people that aren't as up to speed on the rules and everything like that, they did a really good job of explaining those in depth and kind of taking that approach. So I actually thought it was really cool. But anyways, back to the game. I think New Orleans kind of they're able to do it against lesser teams. They do use some smoke and mirrors. And somebody had commented on this on Twitter. Whenever they put in Taysom Hill, right? It's cool that he's fast and he can throw and he can catch, but he fumbles, he throws interceptions. So they almost get too cute. And I think, sorry, I keep on hitting the mic. They almost get too cute. And that's okay against a lesser I'm sorry, they played the Bears. I said the Redskins earlier. Against a lesser team, they can get away with it because of the talent that they have. But against a good team, I think that's more of an issue. And then they've beaten Tampa Bay twice this year already. So getting that third win against a division opponent in the same year is really, really tough. And I think they routed them pretty good. So I think Brady pulls, you know, it's not a miracle, but I think it's a pretty good victory to go into New Orleans. Again, not the same New Orleans, not the same Superdome as it is in normal years. So I'll take Tampa Bay and I'll take the 3.
Yeah, I'm with you, Trey. So I'm going to do the same. I'm taking Tampa Bay and the 3. I'm a big Brady fan too. I don't think he's going to win it all this year, but I want to see him beat New Orleans. I mean, for me right now, I would still. I mean, if I had to pick one quarterback to take my final drive, I mean, it might still be Brady, to be honest with you. I mean, obviously Mahomes would probably be the easy pick right now, but I mean, I just think Brady's just pretty amazing, even at the age that he is right now. So I'm pretty excited. You made a good comment about smoke and mirrors. It feels like that with the Saints quite a bit right now. They've got some flaws, and they're smart in the way that they either hide the flaws or kind of, you know, work through some stuff. And I think Bruce Arians is a great coach. And so I actually think he's a better coach than Sean Payton. And Sean Payton's a great coach, don't get me wrong, but I really respect Bruce Arians. So, and I think he and Tom Brady only learning how to work together. I'm excited, honestly, to see what they can do next year. I feel like the first half of the season was them just figuring each other out. And so, you know, I think they're hitting their stride at the right time. But yeah, so that's probably the other game that I'm most excited to watch too. I want to see what Brady can do if he can beat New Orleans. I know a lot of people will be rooting for the Saints because it's potentially Breeze's last game ever. So that will be interesting. But you know, I don't know. I don't think they've got enough to overcome Brady. So Tony, what do you think?
Fuck that. They got their one. That's all they need. I like Breeze. I like him as a quarterback. I like him as a person from what I know. He seems pretty cool. I like Sean Payton. I just man, you know, I don't want to say I'm a fan of Tom Brady's, but I'll admit the fact that I think he is the GOAT. He is, you know, he's great at his craft. He's great at what he does. I will take Tampa Bay. I think it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be Tampa by 3, but it's going to be back and forth. You know, like you were saying, this may be Breeze's last game, so I think he's just going to let it go. It's going to be in the air. It's going to be a high-scoring game. You know, they're going to be throwing the ball. Gronk's going to get plenty of receptions. I would say Gronk will probably get 2 touchdowns. But I mean, you know, the Saints also have Kamara, and with that, anything can happen. Because I mean, that guy, I feel like, you know, having him on running the ball and then having Michael Thomas as a receiver, it could go the other way. I mean, the Saints may destroy Tampa Bay too, but if I had to call it, I'm going to call Tampa.
All right. Well, that brings us to the end of the show. Trey, I'm going to hand it off to you to close us out.
Thanks, Chris. So thanks everybody for watching. Please like, please subscribe, please share. We have a ton of stuff coming up. We're going to